Okay. All right, guys, here we are tonight. It's November 14th, a Monday, a different Monday than our first and third Mondays of the year, but a special Monday nonetheless for everybody that's in the room and watching, all the millions watching on YouTube right now. Before we get started, I'd like to have Jeff, sorry. Ed's already in my head. Jeff, start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'll start us off with a very quick, funny story. So we're at the Veterans Day event at the Circle, and they played the national anthem, national anthem before the event. So it was a really long, drawn out version of it that they were playing. So they started playing it, and then it just stopped. And then the crowd picked up like a really good speed to it, back to it. And we got right to the end, and then it started again where it dropped off with a really slow version.
It's the Grateful Dead version.
Well, it was, I couldn't even tell you. I don't know who it was, Randy. You were there. I mean, I'm not sure who it was.
You should have just gone with the United States Army band for that.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. Anyway, it was actually really fun. So then the crowd just started singing again, slow. It was a funny moment. Everybody laughed, of course. So, all right, guys, thank you for that, for the call to order, Pledge of Allegiance. Really appreciate that. I'd like to start the meeting off with our man Chuck Stump. If you come on up here, identify yourself, and give us the Board of Elections report, please. Former longtime town commissioner Chuck Stump. Sorry about that.
Chuck Stump.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. All right, so I'm going to read the official certification of the results of the election. Then I got a couple of statistics, and then if anyone has any questions, I can answer those. All right. So this is the Poolesville Board of Elections for Town of Poolesville certification for the results of the election on November 8th, 2022. We, the undersigned members of the Poolesville Board of Elections of the Town of Poolesville, hereby certify this 8th day of November 2022 to the Commissioners of Poolesville, pursuant to the Charter of the Town of Poolesville, that we have conducted the election of November 8th, 2022, as directed by the Commissioners of Poolesville, that we have received returns of the election, and the results of the election are as follows. Jim Brown, 1,058. Eddie Coleman, 415. Brooks Martin, 490. Sarah Paxma, 629. Adam Shorka, 182. A couple of real quick stats. So we had a total of 4,731 registered voters. That's up a little over 500 from last election. We had 1,525 votes cast, 1,452 in person, and 73 absentee, and that's a percentage voting of 33%. And just for people who are curious, in 2022 it was 48% voted, and in 2018 it was 39%, and then steadily kind of declines a little bit from there. And that is it for the report for the Board of Elections. Questions?
Thank you very much, Chuck.
No questions. Do we
One
take
last
any
thing, I
action?
do want to
Sorry.
thank all the members of the Board of Elections, as well as Bobby and Maggie, who were up here for almost 16 hours straight on Tuesday. It was a good day. Everything went very smooth.
I think I can speak for the town commissioners and say thank you very much again, Chuck. And if you could send a note to all of the folks that worked that day. As always, completely professional, a very well-run election, and not too much griping about the new machines.
Griping, lots of
Disappointment.
Disappointment. Wish we had the old machines, but they can't get parts anymore. So.
Right. Still, you managed to carry on and get the job done. So thank you for that.
Thanks,
And
Chuck.
thank the guys. Men on the right, is there anything that we're going to be doing beyond that? Do we have to certify? He has read his report. He's good to go? Okay, very good. So on the basis of that, thank you again for electing me, and I also welcome Sarah Paxima to be join the dais here. If we're ready to be sworn in, Wade, if you're ready, we're ready. All right, guys, now, we have this part of the meeting where, as I said, we put together the election of officers as well as our appointments to our boards and commissions. So I'm glad everybody's here for that. Election of officers, willing to take nominations from behind the desk here for the nominations for offices. Jeff?
I'd like to nominate Jim Brown for the position of President of the Poolsville Commissioners.
Thank you for Jeff for that. Appreciate that. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Ed. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussions or nomination points? Discussions, we'd either vote this one up or down and take another one. None? Okay. All those in favor of that nomination, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, thank you for that, and thank you for the faith of the board in that position. I appreciate that. Do we have a second nomination?
I'd like to nominate Ed Reed for the position of Vice President of the Poolsville Commissioners.
Thank you for that. Do we have a second? Second? Thank you. Second from Sarah. Very good. Any other discussion or talk? None? All those in favor of nominating Ed to serve as Vice President of the Town Commissioners, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Very good. Thank you. Congratulations. Looking forward to serving with everybody again in their current positions. And speaking of current positions, we move on to the appointments of boards and commissions. I've had a brief discussion with all of the members, and the goal here is to stay status quo. We've been in service now back in this group for a little bit less than a year, and I've loved the work that the group has done. So I'm asking for all the previous town commissioners. Sarah, we'll talk about you in a minute. But I'd like to ask all of the previous commissioners to please stay in their current positions if you could. I think you're doing spectacular work, and I don't want to change anything. Looking forward to continuity. Is it good for you, for Jeff, to stay on the planning commission?
It is. As a matter of fact.
Parks board, sorry.
Oh.
Looking at you, I was
Yeah.
thinking him.
Parks, Streets and
Parks board,
Recreation.
Martin's like, wait a minute.
It is, yes. As a matter of fact, at the last Parks Board meeting was just last week, a couple of the members who had been on the committee for quite a while asked me if I was going to, stick on this committee, and I said, I finally feel like I'm getting the hang of it, so yes, absolutely.
Very good, sir, and you are.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that. Martin, are you willing to stay on the planning commission?
You bet.
Continue your fine work and deliver us a comprehensive plan?
I am.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that. Ed, how about you? You've got double duty here, sir.
No, I'm fine. I'll stay with both. The,
Sustainable Poolsville?
Poolsville, Fair Access.
Great, you've done great work on both. That leads me to Fair Access, and Sarah, I'd like to ask you to serve on the Fair Access Committee if you would. This means that I'm going to step back from it from an official basis as the president. Don't normally serve on boards and commissions anyway, but I will, of course, be paying attention and playing a role in terms of all the advocacy that we move forward with. So I'd like to ask you if you'd be kind enough to serve on the Fair Access Committee.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. I know you're going to do a great job, and we look forward to your contributions to it. Last but not least, yes, sir, go ahead.
So, yeah, I just have a question. I think Sarah would be a wonderful addition to the Fair Access Committee. I'm just wondering, when you have 3 commissioners attending a meeting, is there any chance of running afoul of the Open Meeting Act?
So far, I've never had one of those yet. So the game plan is not to start now. And if you guys, we had a conversation about this today.
We
If
did
you
talk
could-
about it today. Since he's not going to be an official member of the committee, really only 2 commissioners are on it. It's similar if you had a couple commissioners here in a planning commission meeting or something that they weren't involved with in voting rights and things of that nature, then it's not an actual quorum at that point. If all 3 were on the committee, it probably would be a quorum at that point.
Go with that, but we would have to be announcing it as, we announce them all as public meetings anyway, but potentially a quorum would exist, and that's,
Right, your issue obviously is, if it's a public meeting of that board, that's fine, but it becomes a public meeting of this board if 3 of you are there and discussing policy. And then the other 2 that aren't there are also left out of that. So what you just want to caution yourself is the member that is not there and not on the board can certainly watch, but try to limit your participation, and that makes it easier.
and I appreciate you bringing it up, Jeff, because it provides clarity to it. I will definitely not be taking a role during the meetings. I will be still like a off-site strategist and advocate. So that's our plan, to do it that way, because we, no question, I think we want Sarah's contribution. That's really the only way it can work, and Ed's already defined himself as being a contributing member of Fair Access, so I don't want to be the
And I
anchor
just
that
have one more
drags us
point to
down.
make, maybe.
Sure.
And that is, no, I'm not disputing the assignment of Sarah. I think that's an excellent idea. But I know that over the course of years, you have brought a lot of energy and leadership to the Fair Access Committee. So it almost felt to me like if you step back, I don't know what Ed and Link might say, if there's going to be less push, right? Because we really want maximum push right now. Just a thought.
No, I appreciate that, and it's worth talking about. I would not call it a step back, I would call it a step aside. And I definitely plan on continuing on a very strong basis, but I will actually be kind of serving at the whim of the president, which I have done as with Link being president anyway, and I will be doing whatever he tells me to do, but I won't be part of the decision-making process. So.
And then the way I would see it is, Jim, with being president of the Commissioners Group, is being a strong advocate. And I think so some of the things that we do as a Fair Access Committee is going out, doing the networking, talking to those who make decisions that impact Poolsville. And so a lot of that behind the scenes work. And so what I see is that when we're together making decisions as a Fair Access Committee, Jim might not vote on with that group of people, but it doesn't stop him from being a strong advocate, whoever he needs to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, this is what we need. And that those things could continue. All of us, whether you're on the Fair Access Committee or not, I think we all could definitely participate in the advocacy work. So I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to, and I'm believe me, I'm not trying to belabor this, but, you just take the Poolsville Day breakfast, for example, that brings together leaders from the federal level, the state level, and the county level, and they all recognize Jim Brown as kind of, a point person, and I wouldn't want to see that diminish in any way. But I won't, I'm certainly not arguing a point, I'm just bringing up my own points.
At the risk of continuing this, the only thing I would say is that when I actually created Fair Access, my thought process, this is actually how it would be. So I didn't necessarily wanted it to be that I was, the president of both. And so I'm actually super happy to have these two people on the committee. You guys bring a lot to the table, and that we absolutely have to have it, because Fair Access is going to be restructured over a period of time, and we need fresh blood, and I'm looking forward to what you guys are bringing to the table. So I'm a small sacrifice to step aside to gain the expertise and some advocacy.
So who's going to do events?
So, yeah, go ahead.
So what I was thinking about with the events, and the events is such an important piece of that charm that we have as a town, I think I would suggest that we might rotate attending some of those meetings. I think some of the bigger events, we all might look at the calendar and say, okay, they're planning whichever event. And then we might rotate amongst the five of us going to some of those different meetings, because I think there's some that are the big events, and some might be some of the smaller events. And then I'm happy. I can't go to all of them, but I'm happy to go to some, and maybe we could rotate those. And then whoever's turn it is to do that meeting, then when we come back to our commissioners meeting, then that person is charged with reporting out what's going on at the events. And then that way we all get a chance to really have our hand in the events that impact the town. So that's just my suggestion.
First of all, Ed, that beats my suggestion of none of us doing it, so that means everybody does it. So I'm perfectly okay with that. In fact, as we all know, we've kind of redefined how commissionering works, so we have activity levels that we all have to take on, and I'm okay with that, but I'm open to more conversation about
I
it.
don't mind going to the occasional events committee meetings, but I'm not, my time is pretty stretched thin. Between having 2 of these meetings a month and a planning commission meeting and then various MML events and everything like that. I'm not looking to take on tons more, but the occasional meeting is probably fine.
I think, the way I kind of thought about it, and I thank Ed for bringing this to the forefront here. I like the idea that we have a paid person already on staff that potentially can give us a little bit more in terms of what is going on with the events, which ones, when are they, like a little more personalized service out of that position to let us know when events are taking place.
Yeah.
And then we can, either offline or, I don't think that violates anything in terms of open meetings if we make a decision on who might be attending that one event. But I'd like to I think that gives us the coverage that we need. And I hear you loud and clear. We've all got a lot of things going on. I'm not saying we all have to attend every event, and I'm not saying that any of us have to attend every event. But I like the idea of having a good idea. And so let's make it a point. There's our board right now. There's the 5 of us. We all decide to have as many communications as we feel is necessary through probably Kathy Bupp or whoever's in that position. And then we keep an eye on things. And because it's up to, really the success of those events is going to be, it falls on staff's shoulders and the committees themselves, but it also falls on our shoulders.
Would it be a good idea to ask Kathy for once a month, to ask Kathy for like just a briefing, like a short paragraph or something like that on like where everything stands?
I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but I think that's
Yes, and
reasonable, right?
we actually talked about that a little bit. Really a 1,000-foot view of some of the events when you guys attend it, and talking with Kathy about it is more beneficial than you going to one of the actual meetings. You'll find the meetings, each event has a different committee, and it are very, it would be too much just to get involved with, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
The bird's eye view is much more beneficial to the event itself, and just communicating with Kathy, and she could write a report up, and you guys could each deliver one from each, event or whatever you wanted to do as far as that goes.
And
I
maybe
just
one
have
of
a
those
quick-
things might be, is if Kathy feels that she needs a commissioner to attend a meeting for whatever reason, she communicates that with you, you let us know, and then we all as a team
That's a good idea.
just say, okay, hey, you know what, I'll go to this one. But that way, so if we don't muddy up, if everyone's staying in their lane, so I think Kathy reports to you, and then that way, because she's going to take direction from you, not us, and then it's, you just let us know, hey, here's an update, these are the upcoming events. While we're talking about events, one of the things might be good to do is being able to set up some type of vehicle or channel where the other events that are taking place in town that might not be sponsored by the town, but oftentimes, I know I have and Jeff has, shit, whatever we might know, we say, hey, this is what's happening. But if we create some type of system where there's some of these nonprofit organizations in town are having events, there's a way for that information, so we can have like a one-stop shop.
We do need that, and Niles and I are both working on different types of
Okay.
communications, so that would be something. we'd really
Website
like-
and so great minds think alike, so.
Well, it's essentially like a clearinghouse.
Right.
I like that. I like the sound of that.
'Cause I personally think we don't need to read like, every single event, every single meeting. Like, it'd be nice if like, we could mention, hey, there's a comprehensive list of everything at the website. Please go there, check it out. I mean, the website needs work, that.
We've already started some of that work, and so we're looking at how we get that message out in various different ways, including updates to the website and stuff. So
Awesome.
That's in the works.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Just have a quick question for Wade. To what degree of involvement was the commissioner on the events committee? Was it deep hands-on, or was it kind of like taking notes and reporting back?
At best, that's what it was.
Oh, it's in-depth?
No,
Or not?
just taking notes.
For 2 years, it's more like just kind of sitting in on a little party.
Because it's all over the board. It's hard to get a grip onto. It's not like a planning commission where you have
Right.
specific items that you're looking at and voting on. It's wide open and all over the place, so.
So then we're not going to do any official decertification from the liaison position to the events position, but I think we all recognize what our duties will be. We'll rely on Wade and Niles and Kathy to come up with something a little more comprehensive so we can all pay attention to what's going on at the time. And I will already fall on my sword and take the Oktoberfest and the Springfest, get-togethers. I know that's the one you guys aren't going to attend, so I figured.
drinks though, Jim.
Right, that's okay. I'm happy to pay. Anyway, so yeah, okay, guys, then I think we have a very solid direction there, so.
Good deal.
That being said, I think we have a consensus that we can vote on in order to create these liaison positions. I will need, so just to be sure, Ed will stay on Sustainable Poolsville and Fair Access. Sarah will be asked to serve on Fair Access. I will be stepping back from Fair Access as an official member. Martin remains on the Planning Commission as the liaison. Jeff remains on the Parks Board as the liaison. And the events position is to be defined in the future. Is that a good enough synopsis of where we stand? If I could get somebody to give us a motion for that, I would greatly appreciate it. You can say
I
as
make a motion
stated.
to approve the board appointments as listed by Jim Brown.
I'll second his motion.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any other discussion on this? Now's your time to change your mind or speak up. No? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? No? Motion passes 5-0. Very good. Thank you, guys. Looking forward to serving with you for the next time period, whatever that is. And it's been great. I'm going to love our board makeup. We're going to work together and have a good time. All right, very good. Do you have an introduction for us, sir?
Oh, this guy? Yes, yes. My apologies. I'm around him all the time, so I forget. Okay. Hey! Yes, this is Assistant Town Manager Niles Andred. Please stand up and say hello.
Yeah, hello, everyone. So I'm excited to be here. I've been here about a month and a couple of weeks now, and getting up to speed on things. We already talked about some of that with the website, and did some of the stuff with planning and so forth. So I'm really excited to be here, and it's been an exciting first month and change. So thank you.
I just want to say really quick, at the Parks Board meeting that we had was the Wednesday, and Niles put together an excellent package of information, and the Parks Board folks really noted that it was well organized and very detailed, because it was all about the speed monitoring and that kind, and other information. So well done, Miles. Thank you.
No, my hat's off to him. He's doing very well, picking up on things, going through the budgets. Everything's thrown his way. He's on top of it. Very thorough with his communications, very knowledgeable with QuickBooks and the website, so he's definitely
What
was a good
Bridget said.
pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's why we hired him.
Yep.
We got it right.
Thank you.
It's good.
Thanks
Good.
for being here, Niles.
Appreciate the introduction. Thanks for being here tonight. That's great of you. I know you've been a long day, so I'm glad you made it happen. Thank you for the introduction, Wade, and it's great to officially meet Niles. I'm glad he's on board. Perfect timing for Sarah to be on board as well. So, is there anything else for the good of the order? Does anybody have any comments?
Thing soon. Hint, hint, Jay.
I was just thinking the same
Yeah.
thing, Martin.
Yeah.
Maybe we could schedule
Hint, hint.
something, after the holidays where we do a little primer, ethics law, open meetings law,
Yes.
that kind of stuff like we did before, and,
Top golf.
that kind of thing. Maybe if you sit,
Yes.
if you sit through my hour-long presentation, then you get to go to top.
Oh,
Maybe
great.
that has to be it, so.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, right? That's a good trade-off. All right, yeah, good idea, Martin. We could definitely use it. It'll be great to get us off on the right foot here. All right, any other commentary from tonight's meeting? No, so I want everybody to stay after so we can get our pictures, and I definitely want town staff to stay in so you can get the pictures too. Yes, sorry, you're all wearing suits except for Niles. We'll just put him in the back and he'll still stand above way everybody else still. So, anything else for the good of the order? Anybody for a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Do we have a second? Sarah, go ahead. It's your first one. There you go. She has a second. On her first meeting, she's already taken charge. Good job. We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? We are officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody.